Hi, what would you think if I told you a 94-page book can make the difference in your life? It can help you to identify change. Matter of fact, it's been on the #1 national bestseller list for many, many years. It's been published over 23 million copies. It's been transcribed into 24 different languages, according to Red Tree International. I'll also tell you that that little 94-page book is this: Who Moved My Cheese? Hello, I'm Terry Ferguson, and what I'd like to talk to you about today is Who Moved My Cheese. I'll cover the four characters in the book. I'll talk about the maze itself that's represented in the book. And then I'll talk about the old cheese and the new cheese that it talks about in the book as well. And then finally, what I'll do in conclusion is give you a little story and tell you why I think you should read this book, because it'll help you to identify things that are going on in your life. Now, let's first start by looking at the four main characters. The first character in the book that you run across is Sniff. He's a little mouse. Now, this little mouse, if you can imagine, he's running about the maze. He's very articulate at seeing change, smelling change. He'll see it out there, and he's going after it. I mean, a relentless, nonstop kind of guy. He's that person that you might, met in your life that you're like, hey, you need to slow down a little bit. That's not Sniff. Sniff's going. He smells it, and he's going. Scurry, on the other hand, is just like Sniff. He needs a sniff to smell out what's the right direction. He's a follower. He's that person that, when Sniff says, I smell the job opportunity down in the coast, you're going down to the coast. He's very good about meeting on and taking on new possibilities. Where him, on the other hand, is that old, cheap man starting fixing to retire, that's very set in his ways. He's got a house established. He's going to retire there. He's counting on that pension from the government, that retirement, those TSPs, those 401ks that you might have out there. And he's very unwilling to change. He expects what has been promised to him, and he expects it to be there. Where Hall, on the other hand, is a little bit of all of them combined. He does expect things to be there. He's got very comfortable in his ways, but he's not afraid of change. He's not afraid to go out there and identify, how do I recover from a death in the family? How do I recover from a divorce? Hall's the guy that's going to go out there and get back into life and get back going with things. Now that I've told you about the four characters, let me tell you a little bit about the maze. Now, the maze represents many different things, many different aspects, and it's really up to you to determine what that represents in your life. It could be just life in general. It could be your work. It could be your family. It could be finances. It could be the spiritual struggles that you're dealing with on a routine basis. It really could represent any aspect of your life, any change in your life. It could represent divorce, marriage, childbirth, buying a house, buying a new car, anything that you might struggle with in life or really have to contemplate hard on. That's what the maze could represent to you. Now, I told you about the four characters. I've told you about the maze. Let me spend just a minute or two talking about the cheese. There's two different cheeses represented in this book. There's the old cheese. Those are the things that you become accustomed to. That's the things you just can't let go of. It's that pension plan. It's that, job you've held on to for 26 years that you can't stand. I'm not saying that I can't stand it, guys. I love the military. I don't want to leave it. But it just represents that old way of doing business. Where the new cheese could be many different new possibilities. It could be a new love in your life. It could be a money. It could be a job that's waiting for you across, on the West Coast or the East Coast. Maybe even a new country. It could be relationships. Maybe a new best friend. Maybe an old friend comes out of the woodwork. Hey, that's what Facebook's all about, right? But anyway, it could be just overall satisfaction. Now, I've told you about the book itself. I've told you the cast of characters. I've told you what the maze is. I've told you about the old cheese and the new cheese. Now, let me tell you a story. Why I really think you should take the time and read this little 94-page book. Basically, you have this gentleman, and he's done very well throughout life. God's blessed him very well. He's been married twice. He has 2 beautiful children and 2 incredible grandchildren. And he thinks he's been pretty good about recognizing those 4 different characters in his life and being able to adapt to change until he had his 3rd heart attack. Now, if you can imagine, that really woke this gentleman up, and he realized he's got to make changes in his life. He's got to become more of a Hall type guy that's willing to go out there and see things and get into life. You know, almost that middle-age crisis reburned. Well, that guy is me. I had my third heart attack, and it woke me up. And it was one of those things that I had to get out and start taking better care of myself, both health-wise, financially, relationship-wise. And I was that guy that was that chief master sergeant 25 years, expecting that retirement, expecting that check when I got done. I mean, that's what I put my time in for, right? No, it's about living life, folks. I went out and bought me a brand new Harley. I'm enjoying life. I'm trying to live it to its fullest. I would tell you, God is really good. I bless, hope God blesses each and every one of you. And I hope you get the opportunity to read this 94-page book, Who Moved the Cheese, and put yourself into that maze and that situation and ask, how are you going to handle changes in your life? Thank you very much.